Welcome to ACF Chef's Table webinar series. Thank you for joining today's webinar on blending innovations. For those unfamiliar with the American Culinary Federation, ACF, we are the leading organization for culinary professionals, offering education, certification, and a community for chefs and food service leaders. If you're not yet a member, today's webinar is a great example of the valuable resources we offer. Today, we'll be joining Kelly Jenkins, Chef Steve Hosey, and Chef Derek Clayton as they explore the latest food service trends shaping professional kitchens and how they inspired the Immersion Prep series of Immersion blenders. Feel free to ask questions using the Q&A function at any time. Let's get started by sharing where you're from by tuning into the chat. I'm Kiwi Hermans, Program Manager of Continuing Education here at ACF, and I'm excited to be here with you. Let's meet today's presenters. Our first presenter, Kelly Jenkins, serves as Senior Product Manager at Vitamix with a special focus on the Vitamix commercial product portfolio. In this role, Kelly is responsible for leading strategy and category growth through innovation, new product development, overall product roadmap planning, and commercialization. Prior to joining Vitamix, Kelly held a decade-long tenure at American Greetings. Starting in a supply chain capacity, Kelly quickly advanced into a product development role as her passion for understanding consumers' needs and pain points grew. Kelly holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science and a master's in public administration, both from Bowling Green State University. Our next presenter, Chef Steve Hosey, serves as blending application manager at Vitamix. In this role, he provides marketing, sales, and engineering support, as well as serves as culinary lead for key customer accounts for all Vitamix commercial equipment. Prior to joining Vitamix, Steve worked in the culinary industry for 6 years, serving as a cook and eventually chef, giving him the skill and background needed to succeed in his role at Vitamix. Steve earned his bachelor's degree in organizational communication in business from the University of Akron. Our final presenter, Chef Derek Clayton, serves as corporate chef at Vitamix. In this role, Derek is responsible for product testing and recipe development, supporting various departments, including product management, marketing, engineering, and sales. Prior to joining Vitamix, Derek built a diverse culinary career throughout Ohio, most recently serving as the corporate chef for the Michael Simon Restaurant Group. Derek earned his bachelor's degree in general studies with a concentration in English literature and psychology from the University of Michigan. At this time, I'll pass it over to Kelly and the Vitamix team. Take it away.
Thank you, Kiwi. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, give it 1 second, and then it should be in presentation mode. We're going to take some time today. We're very excited to be here with you all and talk a little bit about food service trends and immersion solutions. So we already had some pretty detailed introductions. This is a small subset of our Vitamix commercial team that'll be here with you today. I am going to start with the slides, and then as the agenda shows, we'll kick it over to the chefs about halfway through and spend some time on recipes. So I want to focus first, sharing a little bit about the trends, how we keep an eye on the trends, and how we leverage those for product development here. Then I want to talk a little bit about our Immersion Prep series and how that relates, and we objectively tried to solve some of these trends that we find coming to the forefront. And then we'll do the 3 recipe demos and end with some Q&A. So kicking us off to start to talk about food service market trends. This first one, I'm sure, is pretty familiar to a lot of you, the labor shortage challenges. So this really emerged as a trend during the pandemic, and it's really remained at the forefront ever since. It's a trend that has some significant impact on food service operators. And there's a handful of different underlying factors that play a notable role here. The first being demographic shifts. So long-term, in the US, we have a lot less young workers. That pool of young workers is in high demand. And there's a lot of competing industries now pulling them in different directions. So retail's expanded, logistics, playing a significant role on that labor shortage. The second piece is wage constraints. We have a lower wage industry in food service, and it necessarily hasn't kept pace with some of the increased costs, which puts a lot more strain on operators. And then third, employee retention issues. We know that food service has one of the highest turnover rates across all industries, and that plays a significant role and puts notable pressure on operators. The second trend I want to talk to that we noticed in the market starting to evolve over the last few years is rising costs. As costs rise, that continues to put notable pressure on the industry. We've seen inflation continue to rise, and that's impacted costs for operators in a few ways. Food costs have continued to rise. We've also seen, as we just talked about, labor costs continuing to rise, and equipment as well. We've had a lot more economic volatility in the past couple of years too, and that volatility plays a role from consumer behavior lens. So consumers are starting to pull back a little bit on their discretionary spending. They're showing more increased price sensitivity. And all of these factors ultimately are putting a lot of margin pressure, a lot of margin compression on operators that really impacts the food service solutions. And then the third trend is a little bit twofold. So texture and efficiency. So texture is obviously a core driver of consumer satisfaction. It's increasingly considered to be a key factor, similar to like flavor. And that's risen to the forefront with the importance, or I should say growth of social media in recent years. We have the influencer trends and the pictures. How can we make food and the experiences unique? And it's also a lever that can be pulled to really create a premium experience, but without the premium cost. So as we know costs are rising, how can we elevate that experience in a cost-effective manner? Texture can also appeal or help address some of the unique dietary requirements that we find. So how can you create different puree diets to address different customer needs? As well as making healthy food taste good, texture can be key. So what are different ways we can provide a healthy food with a unique texture to engage somebody's senses? And then the second piece of this is efficiency. So first of all, how do we create texture faster for the busy back of house operators? But secondly, operational efficiency. How can we reduce prep time, minimize waste reduction, reduce labor time of that strained labor workforce? All of that really leads to what we like to look at here as trend impacts. And in this case, we want to ultimately understand what is that impact on food service operators. And we identified three different things in this scenario. So the first being versatility. How can we develop equipment that can do more? Operators are busy. They have that limited budget flexibility with the increasing costs. So they need their equipment to be able to do more. Also, ease of use. They want equipment that is easy to train on with that high turnover workforce, intuitive features, what can really minimize the training requirements. And then high performance. How do we get high performing equipment that delivers on efficiency where you can get what you need faster? And then durability as well. You know, we know how busy operators are. They don't need downtime during peak time. And they want investments that last so their money can go farther. And that's what we ultimately seek to address through product development here at Vitamix Commercial. Most recently with our new product, the Immersion series. So we're passionate here about high performance blending, and we work to leverage a user-centric product development and innovation process. So we always are working to understand what are the latest trends in the market. What are the impacts for those trends? And how can we, as an equipment manufacturer, help to solve that and optimize operations for our users? And that led us to our new product, the Immersion series. So you'll get to see it in action in a few minutes. But before that, I want to share some of the key features and how we address the trends through those. So it is our first commercial immersion blender series. It is one motor base that is very versatile with 5 different wand sizes. So you're able to blend anywhere from 3 to 80 gallons, depending on the vessel and the batch sizes you're trying to serve. The wand sizes range from 14 to 23 inches to accommodate those different sizes. Most importantly, since we do focus on high performance blending here, we wanted to make sure we could deliver a best-in-class blend but with the convenience of an immersion blender. So we added a lot of key features to improve that ease of use and enable the efficiency in the kitchen. From a feature perspective, what you'll see here is we'll talk through some of those key ones and how they address the trends. So there are 3 different button operations. You can see with the iconography there, we tried to make it as intuitive as possible for the user. The continuous run button basically works as a like a speed control. You can lock in the speed at any mode, and one press of a button will unlock it for safety purposes. The speed select allows you to navigate between the 3 different speed settings. I would also like to note that the chefs, who you'll see again in a minute, spend a lot of time testing the different speed ranges to optimize, to take some of the guesswork out for users. So again, focusing on that ease of use for operators. There's also an on-off button that activates it at low speed. And then we have multiple handhold options. So we know that if you're blending, you're doing a lot of blends, a lot of longer blends, we want it to be as ergonomic as possible for the user, excuse me. And so we have that ergonomic handle with a trigger style grip, similar to like a power equipment. There's also other handholds you can use too. So depending on if you are blending on a tall steam kettle or perhaps in a Cambro on the floor, it allows some of that versatility for the user. We added some support materials available through the quick scan of a QR code. And as I mentioned, there are 5 different wand sizes. Those wands are fully stainless steel, so they're completely removable and dishwasher safe. Again, we know how busy operators are. Cleanability is of the utmost importance. We have the cord and GFCI. This was an important safety feature we considered. The cord is red, 12 feet long, red for visibility, so there's no trip hazards in the kitchen. And the GFCI, so the unit is able to trip if it was to accidentally get submerged by a busy operator, so that there's no safety concerns. The pot rest allows you to rest the unit against the sides or the side of the container and take a little bit of the burden off the blend. And last but not least, the custom blade and bell. For our countertop blenders, we spend a lot of time designing containers that are able to pull ingredients in quickly and efficiently. And we took that same focus as we developed this new Immersion prep line with our blade design and bell design here. It's able to pull ingredients in quickly and efficiently, and it's also fully dishwasher safe to provide that optimal blend performance for users. There's a couple of accessories available, and you'll get to see these in action in a moment too. The wall mounts included with the unit. It's a stainless steel construction, heavy duty. You're able to store it anywhere in the kitchen that's convenient. And it does hold either the blender by its handle, the wand attachment, or the whisk attachments. The whisk is dishwasher safe as well. The beaters are fully removable and dishwasher safe, I should say. It's sold separately, it's NSF certified, and it has the same connection interface as the wand, so very easy on-off. And then the pot clip, so sturdy construction made of aluminum materials, just takes some of the burden off of the user again. So if you're doing a longer blend, you're able to sit it on the side there, and you don't have to hold it for the entire duration of the blend. So before I transition to our chefs here, I just want to bring us back to our trends and how we brought those to life in this product. So the trend impacts, again, versatility. So one machine with multiple attachment really enables that versatility in the kitchen. So blends anywhere from small duty, 3 gallons, all the way up to 80. Ease of use, high-powered motor, so you can get blends quickly and efficiently. As many dishwasher safe parts as possible to minimize labor time, as well as optimize speed controls. And then last, the high-performing and durable equipment. So again, thinking of that high-powered motor, that Vitamix quality blend, and having it with durable product that has a 1-year warranty. So all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Just a reminder, please go ahead and drop any questions you have in the chat throughout. And then give us one moment on technical. We're going to go ahead and swap over to our video of the chefs, and they're going to give you some demos.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. Again, I'm Steve here at Vitamix, and with me is Derek. We're going to do a couple different blends for you, just kind of show you the versatility of the equipment, wide variety of different things, more from a front of house versus a back of a house application, a bread application as well. This is a very versatile machine, and as Kelly pointed out, this is our first immersion blender, stick blender on the market. However, it's built off of a long legacy of really great components. that's given Vitamix the brand name that it has. So this motor is one of the largest horsepower motor that's on the market. Obviously, with stick blenders, immersion blenders, you're going at large batch sizes. So you're going to need a strong, powerful motor that's going to be able to run cool. And this is one that we use in some of our other blenders as well. So great components. The long life that you're going to see in our containers on our VitaPrep series. Those same bearings are in this shaft here or wand. The same laser cut quality steel blades are here. So you've got a lot of great components that we have a lot of time in, invested a lot of engineering support and testing to make sure that these are going to hold up well for you. So this is just going into something that's a new platform. So think of this as kind of an inverted blender. Right now we're going into large steam kettles, vessels, Cambros, things like that. Sure. Yeah. So for this, the other nice part is it's not extremely heavy. We do have accessories if somebody's going to be doing a little longer blend or multiple back-to-backs. We have a pot clip that you can purchase as well. And that's made to fit on round containers, be that a 5-gallon bucket or a Cambro. These square as well, also fits on large jacketed kettles. And then just drop right in there. So real simple from that perspective to use. For this first recipe, I'm not going to use it. It's going to take a little time, but not a ton. We're going to do a large batch smoothie. So for this one, obviously, non-commercial schools, even when you get into hospitals, things like that. It's a great way to get nutrition into somebody. This one's going to be a green smoothie, but it's very fruit forward. So most people are going to find it very palatable, easy to consume. Also, we built this kind of designed around immersion blenders. So you want to use a little higher liquid content with that. You can go much higher in frozen, just means you're going to work harder to get it done. And most of the time that thickness isn't going to hold long term. There's obviously plenty of good fiber and things that we're using in whole fruit that's going in. So just keeping these on ice or room temperature is going to be sufficient. So Derek, if you want to help load this up for us, tell us what we got going in.
So we got some pineapple chunks with juice we're going to put in there in the bottom of the container.
Yep.
See if I can get this in there with minimal splashing.
Excellent. Feel that you've done this before.
I mean, this is the first time.
Yeah.
So with this, you know, it's a great thing. We think about like this is a giant sort of batch of smoothie. This is white grape juice. But if we're in an education setting and we have a really quick service period, we can do like a giant batch to serve a lot of kids really quickly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going with pineapple straight out of a 10 can, but you could use frozen. You might want to slack it a little bit. We do have some frozen going in here.
Frozen mango.
Perfect.
And then we've got some spinach, because, you know, kids love spinach. That's what I've heard. And then just a little bit of mint.
Yeah. So as we call a hint of mint, that's going to give a nice little brightness with that. You can load these a couple different ways. This one's going to work out fine. There's enough liquid to pull everything through. Typically, you want the easiest ingredients that are going to blend to go in first. So your soft ingredients, your liquids. In this case, obviously that grapefruit just went in, so not that necessary one versus the other. We're going to go ahead and start. As Kelly pointed out, we got 3 different speeds. So your index finger as you pull is going to be your power. When you have an illuminated button on the top, it's always going to start at the lowest speed setting. So you'll hit 1 to go to medium, 2 to go to high, and you want to hold that front button down. And if you want to do continuous run, kind of like cruise control, that front button will put you into that. Any of those 3 buttons are going to release that speed and it'll stop the machine. So
I think that's an important factor. It's 3 buttons, right? Yeah. I mean, Kelly had mentioned intuitive, and there's not a bunch of bells and whistles on there. So this is functional. It's simple in design and approach, easy to use.
Yeah,
ready to go.
Absolutely, easy to clean. It's great that some of the parts are something that you can put into the dishwasher, which is great.
Right.
Long cord, so you don't have to be right next to the power source. Also, that GFI is the only one out there.
And it's a red cord, so you don't.
So you know it's good.
Right. You know it's good, and also you can see it, right? So in a crowded kitchen, you're not going to be tripping over it.
Yeah. There's everything.
Safety first, Steve.
Right.
Safety first.
Absolutely.
All right. You gonna do this one?
So we're gonna go ahead and fire this up.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of great options for you. So this is kind of built like a power drill from the grip standpoint. You can grab on the backside as well. So if you're a little taller or shorter, there's different ways to grab this. You can also kind of do like a jackhammer grill. That way I'm not actually working my back and shoulders too hard if I'm really bending further down for this. So great options there. I'll go ahead and fire this up for you. We're going to go into medium and then hot.
All right, and there we go, right?
Just that fast. We've got a couple gallons of smoothie going. You can take this further out if you want it to be a little smoother. Definitely something that will continue to get smoother as you go, but not anything that you have to take it too far. Got a nice uniform consistency there. You also may have noticed this kind of pulled a little bit. There's a lot of torque with this. So if you are working with that bell, you kind of want to stay at least about 4 inches off the bottom of that container. Otherwise, it's going to suck down onto the base. It's got that much power. And that's really to pull and cut, push ingredients through that bell. And that bell also is designed for the optimal cut versus movement ratio from there. So if you do happen to get it stuck all the way on the bottom, try to tilt it to release some of that pressure to release it. We have done some trainings and had people literally pick the whole 22-quart container up off the base.
Yep. Mhm.
And it doesn't always stay on top of there. So just for less sploosh
Yeah. And again,
and race.
like you mentioned, degree of refinement, we could keep going further. It's kind of like your orange juice, right? Lots of pulp, some pulp.
Yeah, absolutely. Can be
And the
what you
lots
want it
of
to
pulp.
be. But yeah, we've tested this against a wide variety of competitors, and this is going to give you the most refined texture across a lot of different recipes, which can be faster to get to it, or
Yeah.
could take it beyond what some of the other options are out there for you.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, great. We'll serve this off.
Hold it
Beta
up.
is going to enjoy all 3.5 gallons of that. We're going to move to more of a back of house recipe. We've got a red salsa. We're going to go full Canberra on this one, so we're going to fill it all the way up. But imagine, obviously, if you've got a Mexican restaurant and you've got to put salsa out on every table, or you're serving a couple thousand college kids, those kind of options, salsa to go as a sale item. You're going to go through a lot of salsa fast. This literally takes about 60 seconds.
Yeah, this is a quick one.
Yeah.
And again, like Steve's saying, something like this, you're flying through the product. You don't want to spend a ton of time, prepping it, but it's also got to be consistent and, done correctly every time.
Yeah.
So we've got tomatoes with their juice again. So we're getting some liquid in there in the bottom of the container.
Beautiful. Yeah. And again, that's the liquids in the bottom, so it's going to help pull those solids. The red onions that we've got in there, the jalapenos that we've just had, those are going to pull that in real easy. So we're going to start by kind of liquefying those tomatoes a little bit more, pulling everything above it. We're going to top it at the very end with some tomatoes that we've drained.
Got some whole limes that are just cleaned, just peeled at the skin. Lot of cilantro. I'm in the family of cilantro on everything. Others may disagree. And then some more tomatoes just to kind of weigh this all down and get it all together.
Beautiful. Yeah, like everything, season of taste.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let Derek put his finger on
Oh,
this guy.
so
Get out of
kind.
the way.
All right. So again, I'm going to sink this guy in there as much as I can. Down to the bottom. Trigger grip, I'm going to start her up. and get my speed going. Then I'm going to go over to the cruise control. Really, we're done. And again, that's the same situation. We can keep on processing it more if we want a smoother or more refined texture. I like something in the salsa to have a little bit of chunkage to it. I don't know if that's a word.
It is not.
Yeah, a little bit of texture to it. So, here we have pretty easily completed about 5 gallons of salsa.
Nice tight shot on that. Perfect salsa. Very uniform consistency, and really quick. So not a lot of effort going into it. And obviously, the world is your oyster. With tomatillo salsa or a variety of different things. Plenty of options. Just want to showcase the power and how easy it is to use this, as well as the wide variety of things that you can do with this machine. I think that is going to be as telling in our last demo. So obviously, stand mixers can be pricey. Definitely key in a lot of kitchens. But for this, we do have a whisk attachment for immersive prep. That's an accessory that I think is really going to open up some options for you. If you've got a place that can't afford that stand mixer or just isn't doing as much, or they need kind of an accessory or
Or maybe you don't have the space.
Right. Also,
It's a big footprint.
Real nice option. So this attachment that I'm putting on, there's actually a gearbox in here. This is going to slow it down to make this less violent. So we're going to be as efficient as we want to be with this whisk attachment, but it is taking that speed down for you. These whisk attachments actually come off.
They do.
And those can go in the dishwasher.
They sure can.
Yeah. So always nice to be able to do that. Those are also NSF approved, which is not the case across the board with everybody else. So it's nice to have something that's going to be certified and then adds to that versatility for you. Derek, what do we got in this last demo?
So we're going to do a focaccia dough. This is a very high hydration level. It's about 80%. So you may notice we changed containers. Before we were using a square food container. Those angles kind of help some of those more liquid ingredients fold in. In this case, we're going to use a round one. That's just going to help us to avoid any dry spots in our dough so we can get everything fully incorporated. So with this one, the idea has been kind of, what else can we do with these things? We know we can make big batches of salad dressing, but
Sauces.
as Steve was saying, like, what else can we do? And so this was another one that we had been playing with, which was, bread doughs and pizza doughs.
Okay. Also, how can we make sandwiches at work every day and get it right off on it?
I mean, folks, really, that's kind of the real reason. Sandwiches are good. So we got high gluten flour. We're going to put in some salt, our yeast, olive oil, and then our water. Oh, all right. Then we're going to mix her all up. So here we go.
And again, you've got those 3 power settings on this, so you can again go faster if you need to. No, Beautiful.
I can just run this a little bit to get some of that residual dough out of the beaters. Now, it may not seem like a very large batch, but one of the cool factors with this is that this batch size, after we go through and let it proof and let it rise, will fill this container. But this is the container we blend it in. It's the container we'll proof in. And it's the container we can store this dough in until we bake it. So we've eliminated maybe a lot of different containers and transfer of product from one container to the other.
Yeah.
And then this is about a 2 full sheet tray batch of dough. And just through the magic of TV, here's one we baked off earlier.
But wait, there's more.
So I'm not the master at shaping dough, but you can see got a pretty nice structure in there. So our glutens have all been activated. And again,
Yeah, that's 1 to 2 sandwiches depending on your serving size.
I'm gonna say one. So
Yeah, a lot of other great options. Obviously, you can do whipped potatoes, whipped cream, frostings, a lot of different options with the whisk attachment, different batters.
sure, we did
for
pancake batter.
Yes, huge hit here when you're handing out free blueberry.
Really free
chocolate
food anywhere
pancakes.
goes a long way, it seems like.
Yeah, that's the key. And the ease of use and that versatility, I think, is really that big part. It's a very durable piece of equipment that you can count on and to get the work done real easy and fast for you.
Absolutely. I think, versatility is really a big one with this. All the things that you can do, and I'm sure there's tons of stuff that we haven't thought about yet as well. So
There's time, a lot more sandwiches.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that kind of concludes our demo portion, but I know we have some a Q&A section. There's been some dropped in the chat already. We might have some. Kelly, if you want to join us, we can field some of these questions as they come in.
So we are still live for asking questions. I do have one that came through. What was the temperature on the dough?
Everything was at room temperature. So then this one goes through a cold ferment. So I'll pop this guy into the cooler for, overnight, or even we've gone as far as 3 or 4 days. Everything was at room temp, but we'll, again, cold ferment it for whatever period of time.
Great. We do have some questions, but like I said, the live chat is still available. If you have anything else that you would like to get answered while we've got the crew here live. But one of the questions we have is for Kelly. Kelly, why do you think it's important for chefs to be paying attention to trends and how they're affecting the industry?
I think it's important for a few different ways. Obviously, if you're tracking with recipe trends, you want to have that latest trend, bring more consumers into your restaurant, drive that excitement. The other piece is when we think back to the rising cost trend, for example. If you're paying attention to what kind of commodities or food costs are rising, you're able to menu plan and pivot. So you're able to figure out different ways to do things and get creative. We talked about the rise in texture importance. You're able to start to game plan and recipe plan to figure out different ways to really drive that excitement and ultimately drive those consumers into your restaurant.
Great, thank you. From our viewers, how would it work to re-emulsify nut butter where the oil is on top?
That's a great question. I haven't personally done it such a large scale, but I just did that earlier today with a smaller scale immersion blender with tahini. It works perfectly.
Yeah, I think with that, keep in mind how deep you are in that container. Something that's more shallow is going to give you a better ability to pull those together versus something that's real deep and narrow. But definitely depending on what you're making it with, a lot of those store-bought natural nut butters will have that separation because they add oil in that process. But if you're doing that in say like the VitaPrep 3, you can just use roasted nuts with it. You don't need to add oil to it. That tamper will help you push that through and that won't separate for you. You just want to keep it to about a quarter to a third of that container per time. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to get it to cycle top to bottom and get a nice uniform consistency. But should only take you about 45 to 60 seconds.
Thank you. Does Vitamix have representatives in Brazil?
We do, yeah.
We do. We have a distributor in Brazil, and our sales team is certainly able to help support. If you want to look on Vitamix.com, you can actually search by country, and that will give you your local distributor. So you're able to find them and reach out.
Perfect. While mixing, oh, I'm trying to read this question accurately. While mixing, the tends to get hot because of the equipment. Sorry. Oh, what will mixing the tends? I don't know. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think maybe the question is referring to, while mixing, will the temperature of your ingredients,
Yeah.
will they increase? And sure, there's a different, it's gonna be different for everything, but there's friction involved, and friction creates heat.
Yeah.
So that definitely happens. And then of course, the period of time that you're blending for or you're mixing for is also going to affect your heat as well.
Yeah, obviously, and it depends on the recipe too, what speed you're working at it. In general, immersion blenders, when you're doing large batch, you're not creating enough friction by ratio to the volume that you're going to really create much heat at all with it. That's more likely when you're doing something like a VitaPrep situation where you have a very small amount of ingredients that's being aggressively processed by a very powerful motor. So for those, if you have ingredients that are more delicate, you might want to use the more of a lower speed section or toggle the power button to kind of replicate a pulse feature. If you were looking to not create too much heat with that, because if you are running at high heat, just with say water in it, it'll start steaming after 4 or 5 minutes just from that friction at high speed.
In a small blender.
Right. Yeah, very small.
We haven't made hot salsa yet.
Good, thank you. Thanks for saving me on that one. Next question. Would these ever be good in a food truck setting, or would it take way too much power or energy?
So it's a 15-amp blender. So it's more of a balancing that aggressiveness with it. I think it really depends on what type of volume you're doing, right? So the size of this blender, that's a 22 quart, container. How fast are you going to go through product, I guess would be my question. So, we have the XL that has a 64-ounce container, also comes with a 1.5 gallon container. You may go through more of those type of volumes on a food truck. It just depends on how popular certain items are and what you're serving. So, I mean, if you're doing, sippable soup to go and things like that, then yeah, you might burn through a lot of product that you need to make quickly. Or, in a commissary, to go onto that truck.
That's what I was going to say. If that's your prep space,
yeah.
Or, if you're talking about like, I don't know, creating a quick a la minute emulsified sauce, I would say this is not the tool at that particular moment, but yeah.
We normally recommend like a 3-gallon starting point on this. You can go lower, but again, the wider that container, you're going to get a lot more splashing and stuff flying around from the power of it.
But we do have the portfolio to support whatever your blending needs are. So anywhere from 3 to 64 ounces is the VitaPrep 3, up to 1.5 gallons is the XL, and then the 3 to 80 gallons is when we would recommend transitioning to this series. So like they mentioned,
batches.
Depending on what you're blending in, what your space is, we have the solution that can help support.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to love to hear that. Next question is about cost. Can you tell us a little bit about the cost?
All of the pricing is available now through our dealer partners. So if you're able to, depending on where you're located, again, you can go to Vitamix.com to search up your local dealer, and then you can find the pricing on that. It is priced competitively with the market. And again, we designed that value proposition to really deliver from the ease of use to the quality and the performance that Vitamix provides. So again, depending on the size, there's variation as well and the accessory you're interested in, but please go ahead and try to contact your local dealer.
Awesome. Chef Derek, as someone who comes from the industry yourself and works on product testing, what are some of the main features or functionality that you look for when testing new products that you know chefs will need or expect?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one, it's reliability or durability. Is this product going to hold up through a lot of use case and over a period of time? And then the next one is probably versatility. For me, when I was in a kitchen, and I think most can relate to this, space is always at a premium, and I didn't want things that only did one job. So if I have a piece of equipment that I can do multiple things with, that increases its value to me. So I would
Sure.
say like durability and then, versatility are the things that I'm looking for. And then probably ease of use being the third one. I don't necessarily want to have to run something off of an app and, I want it to be, easily functional and understandable.
Great.
Not just for me, but for the entire kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm done.
Not all about us as the individual, right?
Right.
Chef Steve, having worked as a cook and a chef previously and currently working as a culinary lead for customer accounts, if a chef is avoiding upgrading kitchen equipment because maybe they're worried they won't have the time to properly train their staff on new equipment, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, you get what you pay for. And buying quality equipment is going to save you a lot of time and effort kind of on the backside from that. You obviously want to select things that are durable, versatile, but also going to be real easy to use. So from testing a wide variety of different products, some things just aren't very intuitive on how to use. So there's safety features that sometimes can be really cumbersome, hard to figure out. And that could be a big negative for employees because they can't figure out how to use it. So I think from that standpoint, your equipment is going to make the life of your employees a lot easier. It's going to be able to provide you with the opportunity to deliver on really high quality recipes, given the versatility of different seasonality, things like that. So blenders are kind of nice in that standpoint where you can make sauces and things like that out of ingredients that are at, kind of their peak ripeness, great, price point, and you need to use a lot of them at that point. So blenders give you that opportunity to give something that you can work in a lot of different dishes.
We've also developed a really comprehensive training library on our YouTube
that's
channel
great.
for training videos. So for all of our products, these two are prominently featured in a lot of different videos, how to use the blenders, all the different equipment, how to service the blenders with things like swapping out containers, compatibility. So we do have a really comprehensive library available to support our customers as much as possible.
I love that. That's awesome. Question for all of you or any of you. Are you seeing any current trends rising that you believe may be inspiration for future product expansion?
I think one of the things we've seen at some of the shows recently is the rise of automation. Similar to the trends we talked about today, there's a shortage of labor. Things are moving quickly. How can we streamline and make equipment do more, as well as automate where we can? So it really is thoughtful automation and easier for operators.
Yeah, I think do more and do more easily.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Is a big thing. Things that take a lot of maybe the manual labor sort of off of the hands of the employee. Like I don't want to be mixing, bread dough by hand.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
a chore. So
Awesome. I've got one more for all of you. What is your favorite thing that you've had that you've made with an immersion blender or that someone else has made for you with an immersion blender?
I know the answer to that. Derek came up with a recipe for lemon ricotta pancakes, and that is our
Ooh,
favorite. My kids actually eat it too, and they don't eat a whole lot of healthy materials unless I get creative. So that's our favorite.
that's so
I
nice.
love that.
Yeah. We made a coconut cake that was pretty good. Trying to, again, thinking about what else can we do? What's an unusual thing to maybe do with that? So a coconut cake with a Swiss buttercream, just using the immersion blender, and it worked out well. It was a sheet tray's worth of cake, and that was gone by the end of the day.
I
So,
don't think I was invited for that.
well,
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Yeah.
there might be a next time.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
love to hear it. I'll give our audience just a couple more seconds to add any closing questions that they may have. Do want to thank you all for being here today. And as a reminder to our audience, when you get your email, we will be dropping recipes from today's presentation. So have no fear. It will all be in there. It looks like we have no more questions. I do want to thank Kelly, Chef Steve, and Chef Derek for a very informative presentation. We appreciate you taking the time to share your important insights on blending innovations. Again, please be on the lookout for your post-webinar email you'll receive in the next day or so, which will include the webinar recording, the survey link to earn your CEH, upcoming webinars, and additional resources, and the recipes. Don't want to wait to take your CEH survey. Stick around to the end of this webinar to be directed to the survey form and complete it early. We hope you'll join us next month on December 10th as Chef Brian Peffley will be presenting an overview of building with gingerbread. We also hope you'll tune in early January as we kick off the 2026 webinar series with an overview of the 2026 ACF Trend Report. More info on that to come soon. Please visit the media tab on acfchefs.org to register for upcoming webinars. On behalf of the ACF National Office, thank you again to our presenters for bringing us this opportunity, and thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.